And
Hi. Hi, everybody.
I had started this Halloween drawing like a year ago and I never finished it. So I was like, I'll finish it today. We're talking
Okay.
about Halloween. Star says I love Rob Zombie because Star loves to troll us and be wrong all the time.
Well,
Ugh.
Star, if you love Rob Zombie, don't worry. We'll be getting to those.
I rewatched the first one and then watched the second one, and it was so nice watching them back to back since the second one picks up right where it leaves off. It's just like
Yeah.
one really long movie. Like I loved it. Can't get over how young Jamie Lee Curtis is. Like I hardly ever see her with hair, so I'm like, "Oh, that's
Yeah.
her." Like it's just different.
Yeah. Well, in the second one, I think she's wearing a wig because she had,
Oh.
like, just cut her hair short, like, not that long before that.
How far apart were they filmed?
Oh, okay. Let's see. 3 years, I think,
Oh, wow.
because the first one's 78 and the second one is 81.
I love Dr. Loomis. This is skipping ahead, but I was so
Me.
sad when he exploded.
Oh, I guess this isn't really that big of a spoiler though, but he comes back. So
Ooh, no, that's not really a spoiler. I feel like once a movie is more than 6 years old, like you can't really spoil it anymore, you
yeah.
know?
Originally, obviously the second one, well, originally the first one was supposed to be the only one, which is
Uh-huh.
probably why there was 3 years between them.
Oh, right.
But then because of the popularity of the first one because it's so good, then
Mm-hmm.
everybody started copying it.
Yep.
And making
How
all
could
these,
they
like,
not?
slasher movies, like Friday the 13th,
Mm-hmm.
and, like, a million others, like
Yeah.
Prom
Like
Night,
all of them.
Terror Train.
Terror Train.
Yeah. I I watched Terror Train once, and I was so disappointed in it because I watched it because they said that it was basically Halloween, but on a train.
Which sounds awesome.
Yes, and it even had Jamie Lee Curtis in it.
Uh-huh.
And then I watch it and I'm like, this is not what I was
This is
looking
not
for at
what I
all.
signed up for. How bad
So,
is it? Like, should we add it to the real besties list or is it not even
um,
fun?
I mean, I would watch it again. Like,
Okay.
yeah, maybe we should. Like, it wasn't the worst movie I've seen. Like, it's not live action Aladdin. It's just when you're expecting another fucking perfect movie like
Yeah,
Halloween, and it's like
it's not that.
these like asshole teenagers that are like bullies are getting like killed on a train.
Yeah, so then there's no like real tension because I'm like, I don't care that you're dying. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
exactly. But yeah,
Um,
so then because of all those, they decided we want to make Halloween 2. And so they were bugging John Carpenter to they're like, "Can you please make another one?"
please.
And he was like, "I think it was The Thing, but I don't remember for sure, but there was one of his movies that he was having problems getting made." And
Uh-huh.
he was like, "If I can make this, then I'll write Halloween 2, but I don't want to direct
Oh,
it."
okay.
And they're like, "Okay, that works for us."
Michael's so funny. They fully killed somebody and never really talked about it. That kid that they like
Yeah.
exploded. And they were just like, and then his friends are looking for him and they're like, yeah, he's like 17 and he was wearing a mask and he's not home yet. And they're like, I'm sure he's fine. And it's like, you guys know that you ran him over and blew him up. Like, and you're just like, whatever.
Which is like probably one of the funniest scenes
It
in the
is.
movie because this fucking cop just goes barreling down the
Mm-hmm.
street
Mm-hmm.
and fucking hits this kid and crushes him against the side of a fucking van.
Yep.
And then I
And then
don't
he
know what
blows
was
up.
in I don't know what was in the van or the cop car or what, but
Mm-mm.
this kid like fucking goes up in flames.
I actually like yelled when that happened because I was like, wait a minute. Like these aren't
Yeah.
explosion-y movies. This isn't a Michael Bay film. So
Yeah.
that really surprised me. And then the cop's like, well, he came out of nowhere. I'm like, no, he didn't. He was
Yeah,
walking
exactly.
very slowly the whole time in the street. Like you
Yeah,
came out of nowhere.
that's what makes it like funny because like at first it's kind of funny because you think like, oh, the cop did it on purpose because he thinks that's Michael
Yeah,
and he's like, I'm just gonna go
I'm
for
gonna
it.
go for it.
But then he's like, oh my god, I didn't see him. He just like came out of nowhere. And
I
it's like, so
know.
you're just fucking barreling down the street
You're
when
just
you've just hit the van?
on Halloween when you know people are out and about.
And Star is bringing up a good point. He is revealed to be Ben Tramer, the guy that Lori was crushing on in the first film that we never saw.
I just talked with Ben Tramer and he got real excited when I told him how attracted you were to him.
Oh, Annie. Oh, you didn't.
R.I.P. to Ben. They literally don't care. They're just like, I'm sure that's Michael Myers. Like I'm sure it's him. And the doctor's like, we really can't just assume that that's him. And they're like, ugh. They're like so annoyed. Oh my God, I made notes. I made more notes for the second one since we'd kind of talked about the first one already. But
Yeah.
like the people in this town, Emmy, have zero work ethic. Like they have no interest in doing their jobs. So the doctor's like, yeah, you have to assume that Michael Myers is still out there, Dr. Loomis. He's like, you need to be searching for him. And the cops are like, but we just wrapped everything up. I'm like, there is a serial killer on the loose. And they're like, we want to go home. Like, we already looked for him. We killed someone. Like, we're done. They're so annoyed that they have to keep looking for a serial killer.
After he convinces that one cop,
Uh
like,
huh.
that he's probably right and that they should keep looking for him. And then he's telling the other cop, and the cop's like, we already looked for him.
I know.
It's like, well, look again.
I know.
It makes me think of Sandy G.
Oh my God, I was about to say the same thing.
He's not in the Poison Sea Urchin Cove.
Well, look again. He's not at the leech farm. Well, look again.
He's not in my thoughts.
Well, think again.
I noticed it with the nurses too, because that one nurse is like late to work. And then her friend's like, okay, well, you have to take me home. You said you would drive me home. And she's like, it's like a 5-minute drive. And I'm like, that's not a long drive. Like,
Like, you're already late for work. You're gonna get trouble
yeah,
either.
exactly. Stunned when they like remind, I can't remember if I already knew it and missed it, but like, she's late to work and her job is like taking care of babies. And it's like you literally can't be late for that. Like her boss is like, that could be life or death. These are babies. They are helpless. And she's just like, I guess.
And those babies are probably dead now anyway.
Oh yeah, they're 100% dead.
Because, like, I guess spoiler alert, like, at the end, Dr. Loomis, like, sets the fucking hospital on fire.
Dr. Loomis cracks me up. He's like, well, this is the only way. It's like, is it?
It's time, Michael.
I love Dr. Loomis.
I think he's
He
amazing.
gets increasingly crazier in these movies, and I fucking love it.
I think he's frankly just tired of other people mismanaging the situation too, because he keeps telling
Yeah.
people like, don't fucking get near him. He's not dead. And they're like, he looks dead. The way that Michael Myers, like, he had been shot again and he's just laying on the hospital floor. Oh, and here's
Yeah.
another reason that he's smarter than Jason, because I think he's trying to play dead and Loomis is like, he's still breathing. Don't go near him. So then Michael, like, holds his breath. And the guy's like, oh no, he stopped breathing. And then Michael's just like, hula.
Get away from him! But he stopped breathing! No!
And he does this like graceful like swoop with his arms and gets the guy and just like slits his throat all slow. It's just like
Yeah. Since we're talking about him being smarter than Jason,
Mm-hmm.
I just have to bring up to everybody because I texted it to you
Yes.
when I was watching. We know that Michael is for sure smarter than Jason because when he puts on that sheet pretending to be a ghost
Mm-hmm.
with Bob's like eyeglasses, he cuts 2 fucking eye holes.
2. Also, like the um what is it? What's the person who does autopsies? That person also
Turner.
doesn't, yeah, it didn't seem like he really wanted to work. Like they're checking the teeth of the dead kid and he's like, I don't know, this is hard. Like I don't know. He's probably 17. And Dr. Loomis is like, well, Michael Myers is 21. And the guy's like, it could still be him. It's like, I don't think so. He's like, well, we're going to have to run tests. It's going to be like hours. It's like, oh my God, do your job. I also just love how, like, chill Michael Myers is. Like, he has one speed. He's so unbothered. Like, he does not care if, like, people are sprinting or arming themselves or plotting. He's just like, I'm in no hurry. I'm not going to change or adapt.
Yeah.
I don't need to. I'm just going to walk and I'll get there when I get there and you'll die when I get there.
This isn't so much about the second one, but I did tell Star I would bring this up.
Uh-huh.
In the first one, there's the 2 kids that are they're getting like babysat.
Uh-huh.
There's
Oh,
Tommy
yeah.
and there's Lindsey. And Star wanted us to talk about which one is more annoying.
Oh.
Because he said it was Lindsey, and I was like, I disagree because as a babysitter, Lindsay's just fucking sitting there watching TV. Like, yeah, she's not listening to me, but she's not doing shit either.
Yeah.
Whereas Tommy is fucking harassing the shit out of Lori. Like, Lori, tell me about the boogeyman! Lori!
I agree, and for exactly the same reasons.
And then once
ugh.
Lori has both of them, like Lindsay sitting on the couch watching a movie, and Tommy sitting there trying to scare her.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she does get scared, like she screams for 2 seconds, Tommy screams for fucking like 5 minutes, like, the boogeyman's outside! The boogeyman's outside!
I know, it's like, chill the fuck
Like,
out. Like,
I'm
he
like,
will not
as
stop.
somebody that had to be in charge of those kids, like, I'd much rather have Lindsay, like, Tommy
Same.
is way too fucking much for
He's
me.
doing the most. The progression of unhinged Loomis is so fun to watch. They're like, I don't think you did shoot him 6 times. Like, I think you missed. And it's like, if I missed, there would be like 6 bullet holes all over the house. Do you see? Like, I fucking shot him. And they're just like, whatever. Like, he's fine. Like, obviously you missed. And he's like, we're not dealing with a man.
No man could take 6 slugs.
I tell you, this isn't a man.
And then he's just like monologuing, and like all the reporters and like random bystanders are getting closer and closer, and he's like, he has no humanity. Like, he's just freaking everyone out.
And I like when he's in the sheriff's car and he's like waving his gun around,
Yeah.
like loading it, and the sheriff's like, "Will you put that thing away?"
Will you put that thing away?
And then like it's a little bit. It's mostly that other cop's fault, but it's a little bit Loomis's fault that they burned up and exploded that teenager. Because he's just like, oh my God, I think that's him. And they're like, is that him? He's like, well, I don't know. But he's like chasing after him with the gun. And the cop's like, you can't just shoot that guy. You have no idea if that's him. And they're like yelling at him. And the guy's like, huh? And then he gets RIP to him. He did not deserve that. The fact that no one even cared was the saddest part. I was admiring how innovative Michael was being with all the little resources he was using. Like, he's using syringes, which freak me out. He's like boiling people in their little like sex hot tub. Like,
Yeah.
what was that?
Well, my mom, she used to work in a hospital, and I guess they use those because whenever I watch it at my mom's house, she's always like, I would never get in one of those because I guess they use them for like patients that have like staph infections to like clean them out.
And they're naked in there. I was like, ugh. Like, honestly, the
Yeah.
fact that they would be dead soon made me feel better because I was like, that is disgusting. And
Dude, that scene, I feel so many emotions during that scene
it's I mean,
because
tell me
it like
about it.
grosses me out when they're
Mhm.
getting it there, like knowing that like people with like staph infection and like
Yeah.
burn victims have to like go in there
Mm-mm.
and like, no thanks.
No.
Then it makes me laugh when the guy gets out and he's in the background.
Mhm.
And then they cut to the girl, but you can still see him in that like other room.
Yeah.
And then like Michael like just fucking puts like a rope or something around his neck and you see the guy like flailing around me. And the like chick's just like completely oblivious.
So oblivious. She's the same dumb one that's like, "Oh, why is it a big deal that I'm late to like be the one nurse that's on duty for like a room full of newborn babies? Like, who cares if I'm not there?" Like,
Yeah.
I really did not like them at all.
After getting fucking reprimanded by her boss,
Mhm.
she's still like, fuck these babies. I'm gonna go have sex and like burn victim hot
I
tub.
know. She said, "I'll just prop the
Yeah.
door open." And I didn't realize at the time that they were going into the staph infection hot tub. Like, you can't hear anything over a hot tub. Hot tubs are loud.
Yeah.
It's like steamy, and also like they got naked. So like, what actually is your plan if you do hear the babies crying? Are you going to run out with your boobs dripping all over the place, fully naked, and be like, "Oh, is everything okay, babies?" How did she not notice that she was kissing an entirely different
Yes.
set of fingers? Like,
I was just gonna say, but then I go back to being grossed out when she's sitting there like sucking on his
yeah.
like fingers that you just figure they have to be like dirty because he probably didn't like wash his hands after he fell in the fucking dirt off the fucking balcony
I
and he had blood all over his hands that he was dripping on that one lady's
uh
ham sandwich. Like
it's
he was
oh,
sucking
so he's
all that
got
shit
like
off.
processed meat and blood and dirt.
And probably dirt and grass.
Yeah. So like there were only because I'm still kind of squeamish from not
Yeah.
watching horror movies at all growing up. The parts in this movie that made me like, ooh, were was the needle because I'm afraid of needles, like when they're giving
Yeah.
Lori a shot, and this part, her sucking those fingers was so disgusting to me. Like, not the stabbing, I was like whatever, the guy blowing up, whatever, but that part I was like, oh, the
Yeah,
chills.
dude.
Like,
I'm sorry. I just have to get back, that's all. Now, Bud, don't be that way.
and then it's even
Yeah.
it's triple nasty because you know it's Michael Myers. He's not practicing safe hygiene methods. He's just killing people. He's getting everyone's blood and ham all over himself, and then
And there's probably some like sawdust or something on there
yeah,
because in the first one he fucking just punches through that fucking door that
yeah, oh
Lori
yeah.
locked
And you know
because
what?
he
Like,
tries like turning the knob and it's
yeah,
locked and he's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna like punch through the wall.
even if she didn't notice, like these hands feel different than the other guy's
Yeah.
hands. The taste, like certainly I know like their hands, but like because Michael has been rubbing his hands all over everything and in everything, I know that they tasted nasty. Like, and
Yeah.
she just kept going. I'm like, do you really think after you were just in that tub, that's that's the flavor that you would get?
I have to point out for people, if you have not seen this movie, and also, doesn't she wonder why he has, like, put fucking clothes on? Because
Yeah.
that guy was naked. But anyway,
Nobody
for
gets
people who
dressed
haven't
that
seen this
fast.
movie, it's not like Michael fucking shoves his hand in front of her face. She
Mm-mm.
fucking grabs his hand and,
Yep.
like, shoves him, like, right in her fucking mouth.
I'm pretty sure Michael Myers is like, ew.
Yeah,
What are
he,
you
like,
doing?
rips his hand away from her at one
I
point, and she's
know.
like, don't be like.
Oh, she is so embarrassing.
Yeah. And then she gets her head shoved in the fucking water that is now boiling hot, like
Mhm.
beyond boiling hot because he broke the like thermostat or whatever.
Yeah. Andrew, I've never spent this much time thinking about it either, but that's what this movie and that's why this is a horror movie because it was horrible. Oh, okay, here's a picture. Let me put it on. Oh my God, this is an amazing picture. I'm gonna
I can't wait to see.
Oh, I need to like zoom this, make it smaller, guys. Streaming is hard. There's all these
Yeah.
settings. Look at this face. What is he even doing? This is the hot tub, by the way, or it's really not a
Yeah.
hot tub. It's more like a patient bathing station.
I'm just gonna say, looking at the fingers, I imagine they probably would taste better than Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since he was in that fucking hot tub.
Yeah, I'm sure they're sterile at least, and he keeps his nails trimmed.
Yeah.
Enhance.
No ham or
Yeah,
blood or dirt.
I don't see. They look clean at least.
I guess this is kind of jumping ahead, but I do have to point that out. He is 21 in the first one in this one.
Mm-hmm. He's young.
People fucking act like in the new movie, like the new trilogy that just like finished last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, well, he was like in his 80s, and it's like, no, dude, he would be like fucking 61. Like, calm down.
You just kind of, since he's wearing the mask, and like, you just don't really think of 21-year-olds as like motivated and focused enough to accomplish the things that Michael Myers accomplishes. So
Yeah,
you're thinking he's
smart,
older.
apparently.
He's very smart. He's another
And very
go-getter.
artistic.
Mm-hmm. He gets
Like-
real creative.
Like, I mean, I guess maybe like not so much in this one, but he's like, I already made this bitch this beautiful fucking diorama or
Mhm.
whatever with her friend.
Yeah. He was like channeling his Martha Stewart self in that movie. And he does have a sense of humor, like pretending to be a ghost. He didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Like he puts Annie in front of like his sister's grave or her
Mhm.
tombstone that he stole.
Mhm.
Which apparently nobody in this fucking town like saw him lugging that fucking thing around.
I mean, they're all just up their
Idiots.
asses. Yeah. A cop probably saw and was like, well, that's going to be a lot of work to deal with. I'm
Yeah.
just going to ignore it. I've got to floor it through a residential area real quick. Like, what
And
the
he's
fuck?
like, I'm gonna prop this one over here.
Yeah,
And put this one here.
He's like, I just imagine him stepping back, like, I think I'll switch those two actually. Like, I think it works better with Bob here. Like, he's like, like, interior decorating is his second passion.
Yep, and luckily for him, Lori went into the right room.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is another thing that shows how smart he is. He's obviously thinking about like in what manner do people move through the home? Like they're probably gonna head this way first. Go this way. Like he's really thinking about like human behavior and psychology.
Yeah, and he's like, and then I'm gonna be in the next room because when she gets freaked out and comes out, she's gonna be like against this doorway,
Mhm.
and then I'm slowly gonna appear right behind her, and I'm
Right.
gonna stab her. And
I even think like when Loomis shot him, Michael was thinking like that hurts a little bit, but how dramatic would it be if I fell out the window and then just walked away?
I mean, I was thinking that when I was rewatching it today because when he's laying there, it's like like we know because we've seen the movie before, he's getting back up, but it's just like the way he's laying.
Yeah, he's like, oh no.
It's like overly dramatic, like oh my god.
No, I think now that I'm thinking about it, I definitely think he fell and he knew like Loomis is gonna come check. So let me just like, I'm dead. Like he strikes a pose, and then as soon as he knows Loomis isn't looking anymore, he's like, now I'm gonna quietly leave, and it's gonna be shocking.
And then at the beginning of the second movie, when Loomis goes down there, and then
Yep.
that guy I don't even know why the hell that guy came out because Loomis hadn't said anything yet, but that guy comes out and he's like, what the hell is going on out here? And then
Yeah.
Loomis is like, call the sheriff, tell him I shot him, and blah, blah, blah. And then the guy's like, is this a joke? Like, what fucking old guy's gonna play a prank on you?
I know.
But then he's like, I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight.
Oh,
And then Dr. Loomis, in another one of his quotable lines, is like, you don't know what death is.
oh my God.
And then runs
I
away.
loved that. Also, it was kind of cute when I guess Michael's got shot in the eyes, and
Yeah.
he's just
Lori shoots him in the eye.
yeah, and he's just like swinging his knife around and like like talk about driven. I would probably sit down for a minute. Like, ow. But he's just like holding his head and he's like, I want to stab you guys.
Yes.
And I,
Although I'm going to say, because I think we had mentioned this before and Star said we were wrong, that I really think that Michael considers Loomis one of his friends,
yeah.
whether Loomis thinks so or not, because like everybody else that Michael stabs, he stabs to like fucking kill them.
Yeah.
And Loomis, he just like stabbed him like in the stomach.
You know, what a good point. Because I
Like
thought,
not even that deep. He's just like, oh, got you.
boop. So I think you're
Yeah.
spot on. I think Michael's like Loomis is like, he's obsessed with me. Like, he's always trying to fuck around. And I'm like, I think he just likes you.
It's like, this is just like a game we play. Like, he's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, like, you're the spawn of Satan. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna like get you. And I'm like, oh, yep. Not if
And
I get you first.
yeah, because also Michael, like, he knows where Loomis is, even if he can't see, like, Loomis is making all these hissing sounds. Michael could just, like, charge and start stabbing. He
Yeah.
could be doing this and you'll get him. But instead he's like, haha, I'm getting closer. Like, ooh, like giving him so much chance to move around.
I guess I'm also gonna mention this is where we get the fun plot twist that John Carpenter just came up with when he was drunk one night.
Oh, tell me
Where
more.
we find out that Michael and Lori are actually brother and sister.
So he just came up with that while he was drinking?
That's what I've heard.
I mean, for a sequel that was not intended when the first one was created, I think it was so good. And I like that they just were like, let's just pick up where we left off then. Michael Myers has just walked away and Dr. Loomis has just come downstairs. Go.
Like, oh, I watched this really great movie. It's one of my favorite movies. And now there's a second half.
I really just like Michael Myers not having a backstory. Like, not everything needs to be so
Yeah.
over-explained, and not every villain needs to have this, like, moment where you're like, oh, I kind of feel bad for them now. Like, I don't want to feel bad for Michael Myers. I like that he's just having fun. Kind of like the old guy in the third one. Like, that guy didn't need a backstory. Like, oh, this is why I hate kids and want to turn them into snakes. He's just like, I think it's funny. I want to turn
Yeah.
kids into snakes. And you're like, cool, that's enough for me. I don't need any more
Yeah.
information.
I think that's another reason why I really like this franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Because other than Halloween 6, they don't really give him much of a backstory other than this one where it's like, oh, they're actually brother and sister.
Yeah.
Which, yes, that is slightly less scary than in the first one where it's just like there's no reason why he's doing it. Like, he's just doing it. Like,
Yeah.
Lori could have been anybody. Like, yeah, that's scarier.
Yeah.
But them being siblings, like, that's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't take away anything from me. It's just
And
kind of
they
like, oh,
don't
okay.
they don't try to add too much more onto that until 6, which is why 6 is my least favorite.
Oh, really? Yeah, because I did
Yes.
like that, like, they figure it out, and then it's just kind of like, okay, anyway, and they don't really come back to it. They're just like, yeah,
Yeah.
which is fine. Like, I would have been really annoyed if there was this whole, like, moral dilemma of, like, oh my God, but he's my brother. Like, I don't know. And it's like, girl, he's trying to stab you. Like, because a lot of
Yeah.
movies do that where it's like, oh, but he's my dad or something. And you're like, who cares?
Yeah.
If you're ready to do final thoughts, I looked at my notes. I don't have anything else really. I just could talk about how great this movie is forever, but I probably shouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, I could too.
Yeah.
Both of these movies are great. The
They're so
first
good.
one, I know we didn't talk about it a whole lot because we had already done like an episode on it,
Yeah.
but it might even be my favorite movie of all time. I recommend watching the second one, but if you're like, I don't want to like watch all of them, like at
Yeah.
least watch the first one. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment telling us which kid from the first one
Yes.
is worse, Lindsey or Tommy.
I'm so curious.
We are curious and we may judge you slightly, but we want to know if we're in the minority or the majority.
But yeah, I agree with all of those thoughts. All right, I'm ending this now. Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye.